प्रीति
लाभो जीविता यावता जीवस्य तत्त्व जिज्ञासा अर्थो जेससान कर्मभिः Translation: Life's desires must be not directed towards the matter of sense gratification. One should desire only for a healthy life or self-preservation, because the life of a human being is meant for inquiring about the absolute truth, and nothing more should be desired by all occupational service. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. The complete bewildered material civilization is wrongly directed towards the fulfillment of desires in sense gratification. In such civilization, in all spheres of life, the ultimate end is sense gratification. In politics, social service, altruism, philanthropy, and ultimately in religiosity or even in the matter of salvation, the very same tint of sense gratification is ever increasingly predominant. In the political field, the leaders of men fight with one another for the matter of fulfillment, their personal sense gratification. The voters adore the so-called leaders only on the promise of the voters' sense gratification. As soon as the voters are dissatisfied in their own sense satisfaction, they dethrone the leaders, and the leaders almost always disappoint the voters by not satisfying their senses. The same thing is applicable in all other fields, and nobody is serious about the problems of life. Even those who are on the path of salvation desire to become one with the absolute truth, and desire to commit a spiritual suicide for the matter of sense gratification. But the Bhagavad says that one should not live for the matter of sense gratification. One should satisfy the senses so much as it is required for self-preservation and not for sense gratification, because the body is made of senses, which also require a certain extent of satisfaction. There are regulative directions for satisfaction of such senses, but they are not meant for unrestricted sense enjoyment. For example, marriage or combination of a man with a woman is necessary for progeny, but it is not meant for sense enjoyment. In the absence of such voluntary restraint, there is propaganda for family planning, but the foolish men do not know that family planning is automatically executed as soon as there is search after the absolute truth. Seekers of the absolute truth are never allured by the unnecessary engagements in sense gratification, because the serious student seeks after the absolute truth is always overwhelmed with the work of researching the truth. In every sphere of life, therefore, the ultimate and must be seeking after the absolute truth, and that sort of engagement will make everyone happy on account of being less engaged in the matter of variety of sense gratification. And what is that absolute truth is explained as follows. Om Agyantananandasyam Gyanashala Shalakaya Chaksho Namanitayena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Offer my humble obeisances to my spiritual master, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who kindly opened the Acknowledgement Torchlight of Polish. So, here in the West, like in every part of the world actually, people are interested in those four divisions of civilized form of life. What is a civilized nation? Civilized nation divided into four parts: Artha, Karma, Dharma, and Moksha. Everyone has some sort of religious life, economic development, Artha, some sense gratification that involved in that, economic development, and ultimately the path of salvation. In the Western world too is not different. There's the different religious sects that predominating, some path of a plan for economic development, factories, IT, so on, and sense gratification, which is actually the main point in all those different parts. Everyone, either he is a religionist, either he is a professional worker, or he's seeking some salvation, like Prabhupada explaining here. Ultimately, even the one who seeks salvation out of this material world, he wants simply to evaporate his consciousness and merge to the Supreme, to become one with God. But that's not possible. This conception, right, like the Buddhist doctrine, right, they simply want to nullify everything. Or the conception of the impersonalists. Yes, God is there, but ultimately you become one with God. All those different concoctions, they're faulty, they're simply misguiding. The ultimate purpose of salvation is not this false merging into the absolute, seeking this false unity. Actually, one of the arguments, the impersonalists, they pointed, just like the water, the river of the water merges into the ocean, ultimately it's gonna be united with the vast body of the ocean. But just like in every analogy, if you make an analogy, you should consider all the different angles. After the river is merged, some portion of the water comes back to the top of the mountain, and again it becomes the river. The sun evaporates. So similarly, the impersonal salvation is simply illusion. And why is it illusion? Why is it Maya? Right? What is Maya? Anyone knows the meaning of Maya? Translation of Maya. Anyone knows?
That which is not.
That which is not. Exactly. That which is not Krishna. Because they're not seeking Krishna in their salvation, in their religious practice, in their economic development, they are baffled. It's like here, every year here in Montreal, you can see their prices are raising up. People are simply, they have to work more for the same bus pass, the same gas, the same vegetables, work harder and harder. It's actually predicted. The Srimad Bhagavatam predicts that it's going to be so hard, this age of Kali, that even for the bare necessities of life, what are those bare necessities? Eating, sleeping, mating, defending, even that will be so hard to achieve. So the economic development of this modernized civilization is not very profitable. The religion functions. What is that religion? Simply go Sundays, you go to the mosque, the temple, the church, you beg for some bread, for some money, for some some wife, right? There's different pujas, so on. What is that? It's all pertaining to the body. The body is perishable, like nahanyate hanyamane sharire, but the spirit soul is eternal. So why should we seek benedictions for the body? The body is simply an illusion, Maya. We're not the body. Right? The Bhagavad Gita actually was spoken for that reason, to explain to people that there is something higher. There is God, there is eternal relationship with God, and why we should love Him, right? Why should we love God? Does anyone knows? Krishna. What's so wonderful about this relationship with God? The Bhagavad Gita. So 15th chapter, Krishna explains there that those eternal living entities are more fragmental part and parcels. Yes, we part and parcel of God. Just like the mother and her sons. The son, without the mother, he's going to cry. But as soon as he is put on the mother's lap, he's pacified. So similarly, this understanding that we are part and parcel, eternal fragmental part and parcel of God, who has that? Who is explaining this tattva, this truth about religion like that? Everyone denies, simply denying the existence of God, either directly or indirectly. God has no legs, no form, no activities, no likes, no dislikes, no personality, or indirectly just speculating. Maybe there is God, maybe there is not God. So this is all a major flaw here in the Western world. So the Vedas, the Vedic knowledge, it comes to show this light to the people in general, to explain to them that there is truth, there is absolute truth, and this absolute truth has a personality, has its qualities, attributes, likes and dislikes, and more than that, it has a form, a transcendental form. And Srila Prabhupada, coming the cyclic succession straight from Lord Chaitanya, this Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, he came here to encourage everyone to explain this truth, make transcendental centers, to cultivate people that are desperate. They're desperate to know that truth. What is the mission in human life? Is it just sleeping, eating, defending, mating? Right? No. There's something beyond. There's something beyond this simply merging. And that's service, devotional service to God. We're actually all seeking for that service. We're seeking that in this economic development. We're trying to serve our nation by being good citizens, paying tax, right? Even going to war, right? Some nations, they oblige that. And by encouraging different family members, right? We sending them some donations, so on, so on. But because it's all connected to the body, again, to that which is not the spirit soul, we are all baffled. And especially here in the West, like I was mentioning before, there is such a big division. You probably noticed Western families, they divide. One part is in the West, other in the East. Even if they're in the same city, they barely talk. So this is the material world. Divine and conquer. Because ultimately, unless we are able to get our sense gratification, we're going to have to separate. Just like the leaders, Prabhupada is mentioning here, the leaders trying to get some voters, and when the people who vote for them, they're not satisfied by their false promises, right? All the politicians, they brag, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to decrease the prices, increase the social status. Simply, they grow their opportunities like that, one by one. So when the voters, they understand, oh, I was cheated, they dethrone them. Prabhupada mentions it too. As soon as the voters are dissatisfied in their own satisfaction, they dethrone the leaders, and the leaders almost always disappointed the voters by not satisfying their senses. So what is that first leadership? Where do we get that sense of leadership? In the family. When in a family, a little child, when is not satisfied, immediately there is chaos. Immediately. And if the father is not strong enough to educate his child, there are going to be commotion. Actually, any family member, he demands that service. So, but if we put that same service propensity to serving the Absolute, serving Him with this attitude of submission. Like Krishna says, Patram pushpam palam toyam, yome bhakta prachati. Then you offer Him something, not just simply, I love God, I love the divine divinity, the unity, I'm bringing everyone together. But when God asks you to give Him something in return, you neglect. What is that relationship? That is simply hypocrisy. Simply hypocrisy. So people, they don't know about this relationship actually. They're pretending to know God. But in actuality, they are not aware of that. They simply putting it aside as another form of sansgrification, religion. I do my rituals. Actually, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, again, there is a nice prediction that in the stage of Kali, this religious propensity to become a religious man of religiosity is simply another act of becoming sectarian. What does it mean, sectarian? You have something and you don't want to share it, right? It's simply for your for your body, your family, your nation, your creed. That's why Lord Chaitanya, when he appeared, he not just predicted that this whole movement of God consciousness that he started will be spread in every town and every village, but he directly he empowered everyone who was born in India. Bharata bhumite hailla manasa janmeyara janme sartakakari karapara upakara. Everyone who was born in Bharata Bhumi, not Bengalis or Sikhs or this sect or that creed, Southern Indians, no, everyone who is born in India, he asks them, please, you first of all take charge of yourself, you become perfect, and you encourage others to become perfect. Because they don't know that there is even perfection. You go on the street, you ask people, what do you think? Is there such a thing? Perfection, this, that. No, simply it's utopia, there is no such thing, it's fanaticism, there is no absolute truth. Let's just see how tamagunas, how dark the consciousness is nowadays. People are so close-minded. So this is a very, very important step. All Indians, they should make their temple, available to everyone. They should unite and make a big facility for everyone to come and learn this culture. Just like Prabhu here, Purusha Prabhu, he went to Europe and they established a whole farm for people to come and join, learn Varnashram, learn how to arrange society on a small scale, but so at least people will have a vision. Right now people, they don't even know that there is a better life, a better scheme to live nicely, live closer to God, not to work hard like an ass, all those different things. So it's very, very important. If you cannot make a temple, then you support someone who can make the temple, who can make the preaching work. Just like in our center, here not so far from here, in your neighborhood, we gather about 12 people every Saturday, come and get darshan, get nice philosophy, encourage them to start the mission of the human form of life. Jivasya tattva jigyasa, know the absolute truth. Know what is the self. It's just like the sun. If you don't see the sun, how can you see yourself? How can you know who are you? What do you like? What kind of family, what kind of nation, what kind of creed, what kind of division fits you or to your family, also different things. So it's very, very important to explain it to the, especially to the Westerners. Why actually it brings us to another important point. Why Prabhupada came to the West? Does anyone knows why Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, you know Srila Prabhupada? Why did he came to, why did he come to the West, to the Western world? Why he didn't stay in India?
To make the religion popular in Hindu?
Yes, but why specifically in the West? He tried in India, that's true, but he took all his books, everything.
We try to explain here too, that's why.
Why the West is so important?
Because
Why did the Indian community came here?
Indian community, they know something, but this here, there's nobody knows the Hinduism. That's why he used to come and they explain this is the Hinduism. This is the factor. I think I like this.
Where Prabhupada says this Hinduism?
Prabhupada, no, the Indian people, he know the Hindu.
No,
people.
Prabhupada, he never uses this term Hindu. He uses the term Vedic culture of knowledge, Vedas.
We are
Hindu.
believe this culture is my religion. This is my culture.
Yes.
Religion is a Hinduism.
Yeah, now we know it as
My
Hindus,
culture.
of course, but we should know the real meaning of this culture. Hindu is a nickname. It was given by the Mohammedans. But the real culture is called Sanatana Dharma, eternal constitutional position of everyone. Not just Hindus, Indians, Russians, Germans, Britishers, everyone, even the Skushan. It has a Sanatana Dharma, and that is service. Everything has something to do with service. This mridanga, its service is to be played nicely, right? The worker in the government, he serves his minister, so on and so on. So Prabhupada came to explain to people that why you waste your time serving those limited temporary facilities, which all are centered around the body. They're not lasting. Eventually we're gonna give up the body, and where are we going next? That's only Krishna knows. Even the great rishis, they cannot ascertain the law of karma. If you come to some Baba, ask him, "Oh Baba, tell me where I'm going next." How can he know? So complex, the law of karma. So we should not waste time with this temporary activity of the material world, karma. We should transcend it in Krishna consciousness, karma yoga. At least we should try to connect everything that we do to Krishna, and it's not very hard, right? Krishna, he says, if you cannot follow the regulative principles of bhakti yoga, of this Vedic culture, no illicit sex, no meat eating, no gambling, no intoxication, then you work for me. You engage for work and you dedicate the result. So especially the Indian community, we're trying to do something very tangible here. Like I was saying before, people are lost. Before I met my godbrother, I was completely lost. I didn't know what to do. Probably I would commit a suicide. And so many people, just yesterday, we had a person, he came completely bereft of any hope. So this is the mission of anyone who considers himself a human being. What does it mean, a human being? Human being, he does something for the good of others. Animals, yes, some animals actually they do that too. But a human being, he can give something higher than just something for the body. He can give knowledge. And the first class of knowledge is a knowledge about the absolute, and this is something that is very, very needed nowadays. No one has a clue. So I kindly ask you to support this very great mission of Srila Prabhupada and help us to establish a big facility for all the communities, not just Indians, Hindus, or anyone, for all the Westerners. In Montreal is such an international city, and there's know even one bona fide temple, Radha Krishna temple. So very, very, very heavy task on us. So, if there are any questions, I can answer you.
Any questions you would like to ask Ramachandra on this particular topic?
So
how are you visioning? Like, what is the step next that you're thinking to reach that ultimate goal of Radha Krishna temple? Like, is
Yes.
there many small groups around in Montreal, or do you know?
So far we're concerned, we go outside on the streets every day. We're trying to make devotees, meet them.
Yeah.
Only us out there.
Okay.
So we want to make a facility so it will be visible.
Okay.
Now we move to a more visible location, so immediately people every day we have someone who just comes from the street. And that's just a little attempt, with no means. We have completely nothing. So the if the actual we're gonna get actual power from the community, some support, something tangible, even your presence, it's gonna be such a big effect. Yeah, Prabhupada himself actually, when he came here to Montreal, he especially benedicted the Indian community to take to the culture. Whatever they can follow or cannot follow, there are different levels of understanding, of practice, so on and so on. But they should at least encourage the Westerners. Right now, I go on the street, so many Hindus, unfortunately I have to say that they don't accept us as bona fide representatives of your culture. Like this one Mataji, she was screaming on me. Her mother had to hold her, drag her. She was saying that we're making money of her culture. If I would need money, I would stick to my previous dharma. I will not come to, live like a beggar. This is not a business.
It's not a joke.
Yes. So that should be, of course, what can we do? There are different divisions too. But there should be some grounding work. That's what we're trying to do. Like now people coming, but they don't have facilities to stay, to learn. We have so many duties. We trying to get the bare necessities, So now there is a house. We're trying to rent the upstairs too. So more people like this wonderful couple here, they want to move too. They want to learn.
Am I just saying?
Yeah, please.
It's not a question of many groups. You can have many people and they might all be nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
And you might have one Srila Prabhupada and he can change the whole world. So what is the uniqueness of our group is that we practice Krishna consciousness in a temple. We follow the principles, Mangalaratik, like that we do the programs. But we also go outside. We also go outside and we try to approach people who never heard of Krishna. And this I do not think anyone is doing. Even the big ISKCON facility, they do not do.
Mm-hmm.
And they have the means and everything. And simply misusing the facilities. So unfortunately we don't have the facility and support, but we have great enthusiasm to preach, and we know this Ramachandra Prabhu, you can see how he is preaching intelligently through the books. We have the process. Srila Prabhupada gave a process that we can train many of these devotees who can go to universities and in different communities and preach this Krishna consciousness very effectively. So we're not after money. We, like he said, he actually, Ramachandra, he very humbly say, I could stick to my previous dharma, but I can tell you he was a tattoo artist previously to this. And now tattoos, you know, tattoos is very popular. So everyone, you can see, everyone has a tattoo. You know, people are willing to pay literally $10,000s, right, for some special tattoos, tens of thousands.
Yeah.
So he could have just stuck with his tattoo job, and he could have, you know, lots of money. Well, why he is taking this? Because this is something higher. This is a higher culture, you know. So we have given up. Myself personally, I gave up my mundane education. I gave up my university studies, because I see that this is a greater necessity in the Western world, especially in India. People know, but here in the West, it's very much needed. And if the Westerners understand the value of this wonderful culture, which is not meant to be locked in India, it is for the whole world. The word Mahabharata, you probably heard Mahabharata, it means Greater India. It doesn't refer to India, it refers to the whole world. Mm-hmm. India was the center of the Vedic culture, but Vedic culture was everywhere. You know, so now the time has come that again we can revive the Vedic culture all around the world. And Srila Prabhupada is giving a very clear instructions how to achieve it. You know, but unfortunately his orders are not being followed by his own so-called disciples. So we have taken up this very seriously, and if you can help us in any way, we very much appreciate it. It will create a big effect, you know. So Hare Krishna.
Gantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.